alliance of 28 nations, and each of the nations has their own speed and development. So the progress is here, but asking for having the table, I think, to have their women, that's not the way to approach this. We want to be smart. I think that the lead by example is the best way.
Thank you. Let me ask another question and then we'll take off to recess. How many countries, at least from the ones represented here, do have a secretariat or a ministry or somebody special for gender equality? And how many countries enforce the 30% quota in the processes?
Yeah, Bosnia has agency for gender equality, and that one is very eager. But at the end, I saw the guy who is sitting in Budva speaking about women politicians, and he said, okay, last year we made a new law to have 40% of women in politics. Up to now we have a quota of 33%. And what is amazing for me, we are not able to implement 33, and now we are speaking about 40.
Because it's funny that until now we had the 30 on the list, but of the 30, less than half were actually elected. Yes.
I think that's a good question. And most recently, the German Minister of Defense is a woman, visited Saudi Arabia. She wore pantsuit and no headscarf. I bet they fell out of her shoes the first moment I saw her. But the interesting thing is she met up with Saudi Arabian women, and she said, you know, you look at me and you think this is great, but look at my entourage, it's only men. And I think that's a major problem that we still have. Like they talk about Germany, it's great, you have a chancellor and all of that. But you look in the second row and it's still just men. And I don't think encouragement is going to do it. You have to force them. You have to tell, like even if you put a woman on top, she will call on men because she thinks, oh, those are the experts, they know what they're doing. And it's like, guess what? There are lots of women in universities that are just waiting to do that same job. And it's not happening. And I think so, yeah, I think it's problematic. Still pushing it.
Yes.
Support to each other.
Actually, in Georgia, we have at the Parliament Council of Gender Equality. We have assistant to the Prime Minister on the gender equality and human rights issues. And we have in the Ministry of Defense gender advisors. At the moment, 42 advisors nominated, already working. And we have gender equality monitoring group at the Ministry of Defense. If it's saying something, we have these institutions.
42 advisors?
Yes.
Large number.
Yes. So I will talk about more detail in my presentation regarding these issues, how it works in Georgia.
Good.
Only to give effect to answer your question.
Thank you. Other answers?
In Spain, we used to have a gender minister, a very strong woman. Now she is working in United Nations Women as an advisor. But now we have the gender included in the social affairs ministry. That is, in my opinion, not the best place.
Social affairs?
Yeah, social affairs and health and gender. But we used to have a minister, a gender equality minister, and she was a young woman and very strong one some years ago. And we hope in the future we will have again.
They decided they did not want it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's the right of the governments to choose if they have or not. But I think it's an important symbol, and it's an important message to send to the society that this issue and this goal is important for whole the society. And if you have a minister in charge of taking care about gender equality, you are saying something very important to all your society.
Yes.
If I may add, I was referring to have previously to have the women around the table, how to manage that. But besides that encouragement part, at NATO there are tools to have some common across the NATO nations actions, meaning the NATO action plan, and also the nations should have the national action plan, which they cover their own national goals. But the NATO action plan is the aim for the nations to fulfill on an equal level. So that's, I think, one of the things that besides the NATO policy on women, peace and security, where we are having some common standards that we actually ask nations to commit and to fulfill. So these action plans are 2 years, for always 2 years, so they adapt to the situations, they're quite accurate. And the latest action plan, which was approved by not only 28, but...
I'm sorry, I can't hear you because, I'm sorry, it's very difficult to hear her if you are, thank you.
All right, so this action plan is being approved every 2 years, so it's updated, accurate to the situation that we are. And this latest action plan has been approved this summer, and it has been approved just only by 28 nations, but also the AAPC nations, so it's 55 nations now. So this action plan is also very detailed and provides which entities should fulfill the actions within the action plan. So I think that's something also is giving a sign that this is not be committed, but it's giving also task how to be committed. And also this ask for a report how we are managing. So we are being accountable.
Living by example.
And lead by example.
Yeah. If you allow me, because in Bosnia and Herzegovina we have daily opportunity to see how international organizations are important. From that point I'm asking this question. Because when we have a personnel from NATO, for example, because I'm thinking about the military. Military personnel is directly in connection with NATO HQ in Sarajevo. So we had a daily opportunity to see if we have personnel in NATO HQ in Sarajevo that is interested for this question. The processes in the military are going up. If we have a personnel who is not so interested, the processes are going down. It's about transformation society. It's shame that is like that still after 22 years after the war we are not able to lead the processes alone. It's really shame, but it's just a good example for you how much we need you and how is important role of international community in transition societies. Just because of that. And of course, I have to be very honest and say that NATO, UFOR, OSCE doing great job in Bosnian society. And I'm just making a comparison between Bosnia and other societies in the same situation. Afghanistan these days for sure is, or some countries in Africa, or a situation in Syria. Because of that, I'm just giving part of experience for you to be more involved and to push us hard to do what we have to do.
I think the time has come for a recess, but I'll send you away with a provocative thought. Because we're talking about gender equality, we have two genders until now. What about from now on? Have a coffee. We have more gender.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
We're not politically updated. And we might have more problems eventually. More poles to separate. Okay, I think we have coffee. Thank you very much, everybody. And we'll continue the discussion in, what, 10 minutes?
15 minutes.